So Wayne Dyer had this to say about gratitude. If you have food in the fridge, clothes on your back, a roof over your head, and a place to sleep, you are richer than 75% of the world. Doesn't that call for some gratitude? If you have more health than illness, you are more blessed than the 1 million who will not survive this week because of illness. If you have money in the bank, any money in the bank, or even in your wallet, and spare change in a dish somewhere, you are among the top 8% of the world's wealthy. If you can attend a church meeting without fear, that is, fear of arrest or torture or death, you are more blessed than 3 billion people in the world. And if you've never experienced the danger of battle, or the loneliness of imprisonment, or the agony of torture, or the pangs of starvation, you are ahead of 500 million people in the world today. So if you have the opportunity to think as you choose to think, worship as you choose to worship, and you have a little bit of change in your pocket, and you've got someone who cares about you, then you have an awful lot to be grateful for. So that just sort of stops you in your tracks, doesn't it? It really just gives you perspective. And if you care to search for that on YouTube, there's a video. If you look under YouTube for Wayne Dyer Gratitude, and he gives a very beautiful extended version of that. But isn't it remarkable how we forget to be in gratitude? For example, recall how badly you wanted something that you got. You know, you wanted it and you wanted it, and then you got it, and then soon you just forgot so quickly that you got it, right? And that's something called hedonic adaptation. It means we're adapting to the happiness and gratitude so quickly that we're on to the next thing. It reminds me of when I was job hunting for my job, and I wanted that job so bad. I would pray every day, I want this job so bad. And then it was just weeks, wondering if they were going to choose the other candidates or me, and they took their time, and it was just torture, but I wanted it so bad. And then when they offered it to me, we were in negotiation phase for 2 weeks, and I wanted what I wanted, and I wanted it. And one day the call came and they said yes. And I remember at that time I took a walk out into the street, out under the trees, and I jumped up and down and I said, yes. I just screamed for joy, well, not too loud, but I jumped for joy. I could feel the joy. I could feel the gratitude just welling up within me. But that night I was on to worrying, and I was on to the next thing. And isn't that so human of us? And so this forgetfulness of gratitude happens in relationships. Science even proves it. Friendships, possessions, accomplishments. And there's a quote by Epicurus. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. The quote is, "Remember that what you now have was once among the things you only hoped for." And I'll repeat that. Remember that what you now have was once among the things you only hoped for. So what's one of those things in your life that you once hoped for, and then you got, and then you forgot? What's one of those things? And there are other ways that we can fall out of this altitude of gratitude. That was going to be my talk topic today, the altitude of gratitude. But falling from this altitude of gratitude, Alan Cohen wrote a book called Why Your Life Sucks. And I know some of you have heard of Alan Cohen and may have read the book. It's a real fun book. And he said, one of the reasons your life sucks is because you forget to enjoy the ride. You forgot to be grateful in the moment. And it reminded me of, lately I saw there was this thing on Facebook and it said, check here. It's a little app. You can check all the states that you visited. And I realized that I had visited 49 of the 50 states. I had visited every state except for Alaska. And when did I do this? I did this starting when I was 14 and ending when I was 21, touring with a group of 130 teenagers in this competitive youth group. What fun. We slept on gym floors every night. We drove in a caravan of 3 buses and other equipment trailers and an 18-wheeler for our equipment and several 18-wheelers. And we competed against other groups. But I was so involved in the ego of winning. I was a competitive drummer in that group, one of 30 drummers. And I was the lead drummer quite often. And I was so into my ego and so into drumming and being the best drummer in the world that I realized I didn't cherish the people that were around me. I didn't cherish that, hey, we woke up this morning in New Mexico. And hey, we're going to be going to Montreal, Quebec. I didn't have this state of gratitude because I was somewhere else in my mind. I wasn't enjoying the ride. So is there something in your life where you maybe didn't enjoy the ride? Proverbially, you're not enjoying something that's going on now. You're missing it. Maybe pause and reflect on that. So it's clear that we're not always in the consciousness of gratitude. And there is a book by Z. Egloff, which Deanna Barnett introduced me to last year. And Z introduced this concept. She coined this concept called grumbletude. And I'm going to read a page of this book. Some of you may remember this from last year. It's got a picture of 2 windows. And the window on the left is a bright, shiny window with the sun in it. And the window on the right is cloudy and dark, okay? And she says, grumbletude turns my life into a dark and cloudy place. Everything looks gloomy and gray. I worry that the sun will never come back. Gratitude, on the other hand, brings out the sunshine. Everything looks so bright and sparkly and beautiful. The wonderful thing about grumbletude and gratitude is that I am always at choice. I am always at choice between gratitude and grumbletude. In every moment, in every day, I choose my view. I choose which window I can look out of. The gratitude window, where everything is bright, or the grumbletude window, where I'm not sure if the sun is going to come back up again. So today I actively choose gratitude to see the world through that lens. Isn't that wonderful? And a number of years ago, I had the luck of having lunch with Mary Manon Morrissey. Some of you may know her. And she was explaining to me her concept of gratitude. She uses the word appreciation because it's a verb. And instead of saying I'm grateful for, or I have gratitude, she says, I appreciate this and I appreciate that. I remember I talked about that last year, and ever since then, when Susan sees me, she still says, "I appreciate you, David," and I just love that. And you should try that. You should try that. It's such a wonderful way to express to somebody your gratitude for them. So I was once told, and I tried to find where this quote came from, but I was once told that gratitude is the quickest way of changing consciousness. I've told this to so many groups, so many drumming groups, and so many corporations. And I can't find the source, but I know it's true. So I'm asking you to consider a daily gratitude practice as a part, integrate that with your spiritual practice, and it will change your life. Michael Beckwith said that you should say gratitudes in the morning before you wake up fully. You should say gratitudes at night when you go to bed, and everything in between will change. And I think that's true. Myrtle Fillmore also said that. She talked about Thanksgiving. Every day we should have Thanksgiving. We're having Thanksgiving right now. It doesn't matter that Thursday is Thanksgiving. We should celebrate Thanksgiving every day by being grateful every day. And wonderful things will begin to happen when you do that. So whether it's a journal, it can be an imaginary journal like BJ was leading you through. It can be part of your meditation. This morning before I got up and last night before I went to bed, I just said, I'm so grateful for fill in the blank. And then I just rested until the next thing came to me, and the next thing came to me. And it does something to your whole body. It changes the chemistry of your whole body. You can feel it. Just, try that. And then it can also be a prayer. Meister Eckhart said, and Wayne Dyer said this as well, that if the only prayer you ever say in your life is thank you, it will be enough. So if you're ever in doubt in terms of what to pray for, just say thank you, thank you. It's such a beautiful and simple prayer. And finally, I ask you to consider, what would it be like if you just had a state of gratitude? So instead of being grateful for something, needing to be grateful for something, you took the consciousness of gratitude and just imbued that across your life. So gratitude as a way of being, gratitude as a state of mind. Michael Beckwith wrote in his book, 40-Day Mind Soul Feast, I believe it is. Someone can correct me on that. He wrote a chapter called The Alchemy of Gratitude. And what he meant by that is when you hold a space of gratitude, this consciousness of gratitude, it will transform everything. And think of it this way. Think about savoring. Just without words. I see Greta with that flower behind her, and I just sense that she loves that flower. And if you're in this garden that BJ was talking about earlier, that feeling was speechless. That feeling was savoring the beauty around you, savoring the people around you. And so it's this state of devotion. It's the state of beholding the sacred. And that is a state of gratitude. Unity calls it, maybe instead of alchemy, Unity might call it chemicalization. And what Unity meant by chemicalization is when you have thoughts of truth that collide with old thoughts that don't serve you any longer, there's a change, there's a confusion that happens in the mind, and then there is a change that happens in the whole body that's chemical, that's across all of you. So gratitude, the alchemy of gratitude. In closing, I'm going to read one more very short quote by Wayne Dyer. He said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Isn't that so simple? When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So being in this state of gratitude consciously as a choice instead of grumbletude will magnify all the good in our life. I think that's what he was trying to say. So right now I'd like you to, if you want to write this down, if you have a piece of paper next to you, you can. Or if you just want to close your eyes for a moment and think about this, I want you to think about a couple of things. What are you grateful for? What do you appreciate? Just call to mind one thing, person, place, event, something from your past, something from your present, and then another. What do you appreciate? What are you beholding right now as the sacred? You could go on and on writing gratitudes. For those of you who've done gratitude journals, you know that you can just fill up the pages after a while once you get flowing. But now I want you to shift the question in your mind, and the question is this: what do you appreciate about yourself? Not what you have or how much you have, but what do you appreciate? Maybe it's a quality about yourself that you're grateful for, that you're a problem solver, that you're a healer, that you're a listener, that you're a communicator, that you're compassionate, that you're a spiritual being, that you give and receive love. That you have eyes to see, that you have ears to hear this right now, that you can breathe. What are you grateful for about yourself? Let's just breathe that state of awareness in. And maybe even continue that state of awareness as we go into prayer. Gratitude transforms my life. I appreciate the people, places, and things, and the qualities of me. All the things that are in my life, all the things that led me to this moment, all of the millions of things that led me to this moment, the hundreds of thousands of hours, the millions and millions of heartbeats and breaths, communications and exchanges, synchronicities and friends and events, grace that brought me to this moment here today. Today I choose gratitude as a way of being, a state of mind, beholding the sacred, beholding the alchemy of total transformation. I choose gratitude. I choose gratitude instead of grumbletude in this moment. I declare that on November 22nd, 2020, that I am a place where gratitude shows up. For this and so much more, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm so, so grateful. And so it is.